That's not who I am. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not a business owner. I don't understand like what my purpose is in this planet as a man. Who am I? To get where you want to go, you may need to become someone else. My offering to you, if you are listening to this, is the following. Oh man, why do you need to stop being yourself? Everywhere you go, there is no question about it that you will see me perform. One of the pieces that I perform quite often is a spoken word piece. For those of you that did not know, I do something called cinematic storytelling, where I either rap or do spoken word with cinematic music and like these really epic visuals and create these videos as an extension of just one of my natural gifts, which is storytelling. So the very first piece that I ever wrote was actually the spoken word piece when I was coming out of my rock bottom sandwich and I was stepping back into the next little version of myself. Is a spoken word piece called "Be You." I perform "Be You" in audience, like I perform "Be You" in front of tens of thousands of people, like probably maybe hundreds of thousands at this point. I performed it in front of significant audiences. A lot of people have seen me perform the piece "Be You." They've either downloaded it or uploaded it or listened to it, all that kind of stuff. And here's a principle that we get to live by. Be yourself, and to get where you're going, you may need to become someone else. Be yourself, and to get where you want to go, you may need to become someone else. It's really important to come to the place of acceptance with the person that you are, right? To accept the person that you are, to be yourself, right? To be the person that you are, to understand your gifts, understand your traits, understand what you bring to the world, your value, your purpose, your mission, your vision, how you want to contribute, all of those different things. It's really important to come into the awareness about who you really are. And then you come to a point where you make an assessment and you go, nice, now I love myself. I accept myself. Or you may be on the path to loving yourself, or whatever that is. And then you get to this point where you go, oh, you know what? This is a direction that I really want to go. I want to go here. I want to go here with my life. I want to go from being in relationships that are okay to being in the most amazing, extraordinary relationship in my life. I want to go from, making, a good salary, or maybe making having a six-figure business, to having a multi-million-dollar business. I want to, go from being seen in small circles around, with friends, to being seen on some of the world's biggest stages. Even from the place where you're like, look, I want to go from not loving myself and not accepting myself to really loving the person, the man that I see in the mirror. Like that may be the next step for you. And what I have realized is that it's important to come into the space of being who you are, accepting who you are. And to get where you're going, you may need to become someone else. The reality is that whatever got you here ain't gonna get you there. And some people are trying to get there with what got you here, with the person that got you here, with the habits that got you here, with the behaviors that got you here, with the thoughts that got you here, with the people that got you here, with the ideas that got you here, all of those different things. Many times, the things that got you here, the people that got you here, the stories that you tell yourself about what got you here are the things that you're going to need to let go of. Look, when I had to move, I was just talking to Dre, one of our team members here, and I was talking to him about the fact that, look, he was like, I said, what story do you really think summarizes who you think I am? He's like, summarizes who I think you are. I said, yeah, summarizes who you think I am. And he goes, well, I think it's really the story about when you really dropped everything in LA and you basically moved to San Diego. And when I moved to San Diego on faith because I was broke in LA, at a rock bottom sandwich, as you may have heard before, financially broke, emotionally broken, 2 DUIs, a girlfriend paying the bills, 40 pounds overweight, making $11 an hour, working part-time at a reverse phone lookup company, talking to old women who were getting their money taken from them by guys on dating websites. That's what I was doing with my life at that point. And just scared, like in shell shock, like hiding from the world. And it's very hard for me to hide being 6'8", but I was doing a really good job of it. This is about 10 years ago. In March, actually, it'd be a little over 10 years ago. A little under 10 years ago, but yeah, about 10. And during that period of time, I had to make a change. I had to make a substantive change in my life. At least I felt like I needed to, because there was somewhere else I wanted to go. There was an experience of life that I wanted to have that I was not having. And given the fact that I was not having this experience of life, the question is, well, why were you not having this experience of life? Because I realized that I was stuck in a certain set of behaviors and patterns and ways of operating and everything like that. So what I actually ended up doing is this, is I hopped on YouTube, like you may have just now, and I started watching people that I admire. So I'm watching the people that I admire. I'm watching the guys doing workout videos, and I'm watching the Gary V's, and he's doing content, and I'm watching the David Meltzer, and he's talking about business. And I'm watching Eric Thomas, and he's talking about, grit and resilience. And I'm watching, the Tony Robbins, and he's talking about, the power of thought and the power of the mind. And I'm talking about looking at all the people who I was very inspired by. And as I'm watching those guys, and those guys are inspiring me, I was like, I'm not except be who you are. But as they're talking about business and entrepreneurship and all, I was like, that's not who I am. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not a business owner. I don't know my value. I don't understand what my contribution, my real purpose is in this planet as a man. I didn't even realize it was a journey into masculinity. I thought it was just a journey into my just own personal development. But what I started to realize is that there's a specific set of things that I wanted to learn. It wasn't just that I wanted to learn about entrepreneurship. It's that I wanted to learn about entrepreneurship through a masculine lens, because I wanted to connect deeper to the man that I wanted to be. I wanted to learn about being a father and being a husband from a masculine lens, because the masculine lens is the thing that was going to shape that perspective. So as I wanted to do those things, I started to realize that there are certain aspects that I've come into acceptance of. But to get to be in the level that those guys who I saw, I'm going to have to accept who I am and become someone else. Because right now I'm not disciplined and dedicated and focused and practiced and rehearsed and oriented enough to accomplish at that level. There's this idea or this concept saying have strong beliefs but hold on to them loosely. So the idea is that, so I want to have a strong belief in who I am and what I'm capable of, but I need to hold on to it loosely, because when the next thing comes, I need to say, you know what, I got to drop this way of operating to get to the next level. I see it in business owners all the time. They go, who am I? Who are you? Who am I as a business owner? And I tell them all the time, I say, you know what, you're Mr. Mobley. They say, Mr. Mobley? I say, yeah, you're Mr. Mobley. I was like, you are essentially a business owner who runs the corner bakery. Mr. Mobley, he runs the corner bakery. He's been there for 20 years. He slides up the little garage thing, the little metal sheet that protects his doors. He slides it up, opens the key, he puts the key in, opens the door, turns on the neon open sign, goes in there, makes the coffee, starts the fryers, makes the donuts, cleans the tables, washes the floors, gets everybody ready. And then all of a sudden, then people start coming in. He runs the cash register. He starts handling and peddling donuts. And Mr. Mobley may love who he is. He's built a good business for himself. Family loves him, puts his kid through college, bought a house, pillar of his community. Everything is great. But Mr. Mobley may not necessarily be living into his fullness as a man, the man that he really wants to be, because Mr. Mobley is who he is. This is who I am. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is what I do. I just operate this way. And then what happens is that he starts to resent the fact that he could have been bigger. Maybe he had to franchise the bakery. Maybe he would have built it up to become something more substantial. Maybe he would have turned it into an enterprise or whatever it is, or talked about it, or created a product or created a talk or whatever it is. Whatever the thing is, Mr. Mobley might have resented it. Now, he may love it. But I have a feeling that for many of the guys that listen to this podcast and that listen to what it is, I don't have a feeling that they don't want to be Mr. Mobley. They have a bigger appetite for life. They have a bigger desire in terms of the man that they want to be. So what they're trying to identify and to assign is the pathway to accomplishing the objectives that they want to accomplish. And my offering to you, if you are listening to this, is the following. To get from being Mr. Mobley, the question is who do you want to be? And I realized that in certain aspects of my life, I was Mr. Mobley. I'm operating. I went from being broke and making nothing to running a successful business that paid for my house and my family and my kids and my school and everything like that. But that was not elevating me into the fullness of who I wanted to be as a man. So then I said, fuck it. I was like, nah, I said, I'm gonna be myself. And to get where I'm going, I might have to become someone else. So I decided to give up Mr. Mobley and I decided to be Mr. Beast. I decided to be Mr. Beast, to create such powerful content to the degree that it is literally able to transcend everything, to be able to create ripple effects where there were none, opportunities to create partnerships and brand deals and clients and all of the above. Like, this is the kind of thing that this is the if I want to get to where I'm going, I might have to become someone else. This is the someone else. Because to get to this next level, I'm going to have to become somebody who believes in himself on a deeper level. I'm going to have to be with somebody who's regimented. I'm going to have to be somebody who's willing to make important decisions. I'm going to have to be somebody who cuts people off and says no. I'm going to have to be somebody who understands when to say yes. I'm going to have to be somebody who understands what he needs and desires and wants to be able to facilitate making it happen. That's the person I'm going to have to become. And if I'm not that person in this moment, then I need to become that person to get the life that I'm looking to create. You've got to become that person. So you, in your essence, you are a person, you are a being. And to get to where you're going, you might need to become someone else. And there are so many people who are afraid of identity transformation because they hold on to it so tight. That's why it's loosely held. Strong beliefs loosely held. You hold on to your identity loose, because if you hold on to your identity too tight, then what's going to happen is that you're going to feel like you're holding on to your sanity, but you're also blocking your blessing. You're blocking your blessing by preventing yourself from accepting who you could be if you just allowed yourself to go there. So my offering to you is this, very straightforward. Be yourself, accept who you are, and really ask yourself the truth. Do you want to live an extraordinary life? Do you want to live a life that shits on other people's experience of life? Do you want to live a life that's like, my life is so awesome. I am so grateful for every drop of this life. Because if that's the life you want to live, then this would be a really good time to assess who you need to become to get it. Something for deep thought and consideration. Be yourself, and to get where you're going, you might need to become someone else. Think about it, process on it, and I'll catch y'all next time. Firestarter out. Fuego.